Very good, very good. Okay. Om. Namaste, welcome everyone to Satsang today. And welcome to all our friends who are joining us today from different parts of the world. We are now familiar that on Sundays it's a chance that we have to have a worldwide Satsang tuning in at the same in real time with us. So very much welcome for everybody looking in, and for those who couldn't fit into this space, they're outside, and that if there are questions that you would like to put, also from people sitting outside, you can come in, and I can't see you from here, but you can come in and sit and present a question also. So, very good. Straight away, look, come. That's right. Very good.
Yes, thank you, Mooji, for everything. So, mostly, I don't understand what's happening to me. And I came to Portugal to meet you physically. And, yeah. So
You can relax a bit, okay? Relax, it's okay.
So when I arrived at retreats, I first time sitting with you, right away I felt a separation, and I firmly said in myself that I don't want that. And so during one of the meditations, you were pointing and pointing and pointing. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll experience myself as the universe. And but as the meditation went on and on, I found
What you found?
well, you.
Hmm?
You. Not
Yeah,
physically.
Yeah,
You.
yeah.
Yeah, so, and then now I'm a mess.
You're in a mess now.
I'm in a mess, but good.
Very good.
So,
And what it means, you're in a mess, what it means?
me as
Me.
an individual.
Yes.
Yeah, but very happy.
Very happy mess.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure many people are deeply confused. What you're speaking.
Me too.
But I know exactly what you're speaking. The feeling of it. And what I can say is, in much of the time in life, we have to develop a sense of being someone, going somewhere, having a definite shape, or at least a definite dream or vision about what you want to achieve in life. Because everybody does it, and we pass it on. Your family also expect it of you. School also, you go to school, they already trying to find where is your strength and point you in that direction and whatever it is. Plus other influences which are probably untraceable, actually. So it's no wonder that we have a sense of being a particular kind of shape, and this shape, this is my shape, and my conditioning is contributing to the sense of who I am, my values and so on all of this. So everybody has a bit of this. Even whether you turn out to be a Buddha or a Christ, you had some early conditioning. Nobody's escaping this thing. And for many people, for much of their life, they continue trying to fulfill their dreams or their expectations and projections about life and what it should be, and to try and get life to take the shape of your projection. But it doesn't work, and we know it doesn't really work. It's mostly running on fumes. We do everything, but it doesn't work the way your mind creates a kind of life, a kind of world, a kind of sense of what would be your perfect life. And life will not satisfy that. It's not the point. So anyway, we carry on. We're experts at this. But at some point, whatever it is that caused you to turn your face in the direction of self-research, to look into really who really am I? Many people come to this question. Sometimes because of some tragedy that happened that crashes their dreams or their world or the shape that they believe was so much a fact gets shaken up, and it stirs up a deeper questioning for many people. And often they end up in what you may call spirituality or some form of religion or so on, in search of a way that they can have a better grasp of what the world is, or to make sense of their life or something like that. Some of them come here. Others go different places everywhere in search. I don't choose. Here, you are immediately pointed to something which is always present. Always present, always pure. This is the good news to start with. That it is not something that you can develop. It is already perfect. There is already a harmony inherent in this universal manifestation we call life or existence. And it is not merely a myth or a spiritual fantasy, that it is possible to awaken to that reality within your own self. So something feels, yeah, I'm up for it. I want that. I like the picture of Buddha. He looks very peaceful, And Jesus, he's got a beard, but he's very, very, sweet guy and full of wisdom, and he works miracles or whatever it is. Whatever is our attraction there. Something is enough to initiate some attraction to explore a little bit. And your exploration may seem like it's out there, trying to find what's really out there. But really your discovery is in here. What you're discovering is inside. And many paths, they give you a kind of a projection. You do this, and after this you do this, or 15 steps to awakening, or whatever it is. And it is appealing to different types of orientation, different types of tendencies. Will be attracted to particular paths for a while. Here, I don't want to point you to 15 steps. There is something that is here before even the first step is taken. You see. If truth is truth, and it is eternal, it is infinite or timeless, it must also be here now. It cannot merely be the gift or the reward at the end of some striving. Then you have done it, and then you found it. It may be this too. It can come in this form also, because every path is an expression of one consciousness, expressing in diverse ways. But here, because it is immediate, I'm pointing to something which is immediate, something which is not, you're not going to develop. The mind, the conditioned sense of being, or our mind or ego, likes the evolutionary path. It feels totally natural, because in every other aspect of life, one evolves and becomes better and more pure, or more skilled, or more whatever, more. And it's very appealing to most people, because it seems totally consistent with the rest of life. But your self is not like that. Your true self is not an evolution. It is always pure. And that is the first thing that is presented to you. What you are searching for is already here. And some people immediately think, well, rubbish. I have not found anything in my life that I can say is beautiful. So, I'm sorry, I cannot. That's not my path. I know that I've got to get rid of all my stuff. I've got to become a better person, and I've got a long way to go. And then eventually, maybe with some blessings and grace, I might come a bit nearer. Some people feel like, they have many more lives ahead. Life after life, they're getting closer and closer and closer. But here, I throw that out. We put you straight away to look at who you think you are. Who do you think you are? And the way that you conceive of yourself, is that a fact? Is it a truth? And by truth, I mean that it is steadily true. Not true today, maybe not so true tomorrow, next week it's gone. It cannot be the truth. There must be something which is not subject to change, and it is already perfect. But not perfect as is conceived through the human instrument, like the human mind, because the mind cannot be constant about anything. It will find the most beautiful thing and think, oh, I'm going to be happy forever. And in a short time, it's not happy. It wants a more beautiful thing, isn't it? And we know that. We are old enough to admit that it's true. I have not found anything that I have been constantly delighted with, isn't it? Some people say, oh, I have a childhood sweetheart, but they married somebody else. My heart is broken. And somebody tell them, actually they're divorced. Really? Oh, stand a chance. And then somehow you go and and then somehow you're together. Oh my God, I can't believe this. This is the most fantastic thing. And if God himself came and says, but darling, I have awakening for you. You say, can it wait? Because I got to give this a go. I mean, like, this is more appealing to me than awakening right now. And if somehow you meet up with your desire, your beloved, it will not be what you imagine it to be, isn't it? Because the nature of things which you conceive or you get is that they cannot continue to satisfy your projections, because they are not your projections. And at some point you'll come to wake up to this. I am not saying that life, it will be disappointing. It will only be disappointing if you keep appointing it to be something more than it needs to be. You see? Ultimately, for some people, they discover that everything that they have tried as other has turned out to be not satisfying. Now they want to find that which is not other. Then life, nature, universe, God, grace, whatever you want to call it, seems to arrange something for you. Brings you into a place where you can begin to explore meaningfully, experientially, to make a discovery to satisfy that urge inside your heart. So I just somehow found myself saying this to you. Now you. So you came to Satsang. And in being in Satsang, somehow, perhaps you may have had some projections or something, who knows, but something has happened, is that your idea of who you are has been somehow beginning to deconstruct in some way. You know, the idea we have of who we are, our self-image, you may say like this, is not holding up under the light of your own introspection. Something is crumbling. And naturally some fear comes. Because, you know, a lot of investment has gone into being the person you now believe you are. You see? But it was not satisfying. Otherwise you would not be here. On some level something must want to go more, or to go beyond, or to get out of a certain mindset. And this has been the stimulus for bringing you to a place like this. And so something is happening, and it is good that something happens. Even if your world is shaken up, it is good. Because somewhere out of that will emerge something very pure. You must have a sense of that, don't you?
Well, there's a hope for that, but still, the way that life's been so far, just very full of grace of a lot of suffering. And so the trust that...
What is the suffering? Can we just slim down a little bit and just go frame by frame?
Okay.
What is suffering?
So past belief of the individual suffering.
I see.
Yes.
I mean, the ideas you have about life and who you are is falling apart a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
Before I
it
come.
hurts.
No. There's surrender in that, because it's not working. The individual I is not working.
Yeah.
It really doesn't work.
Yes.
And so...
and what is observing that?
Well, I'm hoping myself.
Okay. Let's say it is observed.
Okay.
Yeah? So if it is observed, it cannot really be the observer of it. The falling apartness of the life that you invested so much energy and belief in somehow seems to be crumbling. But there's an awareness of this, isn't it? Now, can we start there? Because I think it's significant enough to take a look at that.
Yeah. So there's some joy and excitement in that. Yeah. that is falling away.
You mean a joy in anticipation, or an actual joy in real time? You mean you really are feeling happy?
Yeah, if I am with
What?
myself, if I'm with, my words are not very good. I'm
no,
new to
that's
you.
good. No. We don't like too much expert at words here.
Good.
Just feel it out. Let's feel it out. No?
So there's joy. And that's why I was so disappointed that the separation came when I first met you. And I just said, no, not separation. I want to become you, and you become me.
You want to experience a sort of unity, a harmony, a oneness, or something.
Same.
Yes, yes.
Space. I don't know.
Yes, it's good to not know exactly.
Lots and
Yeah.
so.
Because when you don't know, there's space for discovering. When you have the sense that you know, something just gets dull. Like you know it. It's safe. When you don't know, then there's a space. There's more spaces there. Then you may observe and you may discover.
And still, it's very messy here, and very messy. And I said yes. Be messy, be messy. Just.
If here is messy, does it mean you are messy? Same thing.
This I don't know, but the sense is
something is observing messiness. No, there's a place called messiness. Yeah, do you know? Yeah. We were what's it called? Messiness. We always go past it somehow, but anyway, there's a kind of messiness, but also there's an awareness of messiness. This is very significant, because if really you were messy, you probably wouldn't even notice it. You understand? You probably would not notice it. You notice it because you are not that. Something is aware of. Now it's messy. Now it's getting better. So you are observing some phenomenon, something. So the very fact that you're aware of something is being messy. I only say don't identify. Observe, but don't identify. Also, it doesn't give anything to your experience by identifying, apart from making it feel claustrophobic. So just now, messiness is happening, no, and then there is a space there. There is the awareness of messiness. So if it changes, they'll be aware that now the messiness is going. So don't define yourself by what you can see. You are the perceiver of it.
It just must be true.
It must be. We're not creating. We're not creating. You're only observing. It's not even a belief system. Even though you don't even so much need to believe or trust or hope. Your cool and sober seeing is enough actually to confirm. Suppose you're messy all the time. You would not tell people you're messy. It's just the way things are. And when the way things are, you don't say, look, I'm breathing. Nobody can say, look, hey, I'm breathing. Unless somehow you almost died and then came back and, oh, I'm breathing. But normally you don't say I'm breathing because everybody breathes. You see? So you will not say what is natural for you. You don't speak about it. So you speak, my mind is in a mess. Meaning that it's not my natural state. It's just behaving like this today. So something is aware of this. And I'd like to see if I can go further into that with you. If there is an awareness of, say, a state like messiness, and it feels very strong, like it's really messy in here, okay? It would mean that it is observed, this messiness, but that which is observing it is corresponding with it on some level. It means that it matters to be messy or not messy. So that observing or observer is not the pure observer, because it has some relationship, some interest to be not messy or this is too messy. You see? Okay? If we understand this thing, then somehow even that observer becomes a kind of quality. It's linked with the sense of messiness. I really feel messy, and I just wish I would be more like yesterday. I was feeling calm. So there is a desire there. So that creates a kind of a particular way of seeing yourself, And that is what I would call, it is still phenomenal, meaning that it is just a shape, it's a feeling. It's not constant, it's a sensation. As soon as that observer is detected, then it also floats forward as also another phenomenon being watched. And a deeper awareness, which is not personal, becomes evident. Does anybody follow what I'm saying? Thank you. Anybody follow on this side? Okay, okay. Never mind, just coming. So, this is not easily understood in the context of our usual way of conceiving and perceiving and relating, because almost always it's on the basis that we are this. I am this body, and I'm the person living in this body. That everyone feels I am a person. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I was born in the Caribbean. This is my upbringing. That's just the way I am. And we embrace this identity, although if we simply observe a little, you begin to find that at different stages throughout my linear life, I felt very differently about who I am. I've had different identities, different ideas, even sometime in one day. I feel very different. Sometimes I'm a very kind person. And sometimes, oh, he's a real little bugger. This one. Another time, very deep. Another time, very superficial. And so, you cannot be rigidly any of these things. You see, they're like a kind of portrait of the moment, a self-portrait of a moment. It's always changeful. But there's something that is constant, in whose presence the changeful self-image or images are perceived. I am talking like this. I don't always talk like this, but right now I'm talking like this for you. Something, an idea we have of who we are, mostly held in memory, somehow in the light of a deeper seeing or introspection, begins to wobble. The idea, the self-identity begins to wobble, and it feels deeply uncomfortable, because for a while you feel, I don't know if I'm on steady ground, I don't know, my life is falling apart, and people say things like this. And just about that stage is when we call for help. You go to see a psychotherapist, or somebody might actually take you to some place and they section you for a little bit and just say, this one is not coping in society, take her to the White House or whatever. So yeah.
Yes, and that was, I was very close to that before I came here.
Yes.
So very close. And
yes. But nobody tell you that this also can be a trigger, a very important stage in your unfolding into consciousness. It is not encouraged or perceived in beautiful ways in our culture. You see, you're not meant to fall apart. And yet, to be totally free, something has to fall apart. Okay? So it doesn't mean you're going mad. These are just the cultural symbols that we use and say, oh, right, she's off her rockers again, or whatever it is. You see? And it seems as though to cooperate and be accepted as a usual, normal member of society, you've got to be very straight and boring, but we don't use the word boring, we just say consistent, okay, or whatever it is, okay? And you are not allowed to be unique, particularly, because if you're too unique, nobody can rule you. Understand? This is not anything against government, because the government also has to come to Satsang, also. I would like to see, okay? So I'm not speaking against, because contrary to what we may think, the government don't know more about truth than the citizens. They may know about the kind of, they may keep things hidden, but the things hidden are not truths. They're not the truth of life or of being. It's just they're holding back some of your tax, or they're doing something, or they're manipulating. That's not truth. That is all to do with a little bit to do with our misconceptions about life. And so, if your life is falling apart, it's only that you need to fall apart in the right place. Okay? You can fall apart. If you fall apart at work, it's not looking good. If you fall apart sometimes in your marriage, don't look good. Because they can't cope. You fall apart in school, it's not good. You fall apart even in church, not good. You see, fall apart in politics, not good. Fall apart in ashram, very good. Fall apart in a true sangha, very good. Necessary. There people will not feel sorry for you. They may even envy you. I want to fall apart like that. I've been waiting here. I've been waiting here for a good falling apart. Nothing is happening. My mind is too tight, whatever. Okay. Because we know that the outcome, you see, you cannot laugh like that in society too much also. I think, what's wrong with her? Why is she laughing? If you're crying, everything is fine. But if you're laughing, it's not allowed. Sign of madness, too much laughter, too happy, something very strange. So, and some of you have come, you have done a bit of laughing yoga, you see that it's, you're allowed to just act out and to release some of that pent-up frustration, which is caused by this need to always be in control and to be always, reliable and to be very nice and to be courteous and to get on with it and all this type of stuff, which is also okay. It's okay, but it's not great. Okay, so something begins to maybe sometimes just deconstruct a little bit. And here you are encouraged and supported to relax and to trust the process or the undoing. Because in the mind, it feels like if I collapse like that, then I seem like I'm just dissolving into infinite space. And, I've got a job, I've got my family to take care of, I've got the cats to feed. I mean, how am I going to cope, Mooji, if I just become the universe? I said, well, you're going to be fine. you're going to be super fine. So most of the trouble is the mistrust and the fear of not knowing. And much of the most beautiful discoveries comes out of not knowing. Sometimes the sense of knowing can in some way restrict you. And very often, even in the search for truth, the mind goes ahead and has a lot of projections about what it is to find truth, like somehow you'll be able to do miracles or levitate or different things like this. But here you're discovering a very natural, very simple, the simplicity of being. You see. And the spontaneity of existence, your own existence. And that you don't have to be saving up techniques to live in life. And that you are not someone living life, that you are life. And at the same time, the witnessing of the life that is unfolding also. And that is not something that's easy to explain, and this is why I don't want to explain too much. I prefer to sit with you and watch you discovering. You see, I don't want to give too much shape to what you should discover. It will be a fresh thing, a beautiful thing. But always, it will be pulling you into a harmony. Beyond merely intellectual knowledge or conviction. A truth cannot merely be a theoretical finding. It has to be a livingness, an aliveness. And the less you're able to speak about it, paradoxically, strangely, the more authentic it is inside you. Because truth is not some special secret cluster of concepts or something. Truth is life. And what is indefinable and timeless, unborn, pure awareness. These are words that I can use, and they only point to something which is beyond words altogether. And this something, nothing, is you. And you're here to somehow recognize it profoundly within your own self. It's like this. So again, it is not something that you're cultivating, truth. If practice is anything, it is to help you to recognize that which in itself is not a practice. And who is the practicer also? If truth already is, then who is the practicer? You have to find out. It cannot be truth practicing. Who is practicing? Who is seeking? I say it is yourself in your self-portrait as a person. The idea we have of who we are, that is very tightly believed in, is still consciousness. It is consciousness. But it is consciousness that has adopted the body as its root, as its ground, and the belief, I am my conditioning, I am my identity. And that is a distortion. And that distorted consciousness will go through somehow the journey of duality, true duality, and to make use of whatever wisdom it applies to find its way home to its own self. That's one way I can put it. There are other ways people put it. I put it like this for the moment. So your falling apartness is not such a bad thing. It's a necessary thing. And in fact, you are going to find what you are cannot fall apart. All that's falling apart is presently the idea you have of who you are. And it has to fall apart. The idea we have of who we are is suffering from other ideas it has about itself.
One more time, please.
Our self-image is suffering from its own projections. That is not the truth. All that you imagine, believe, think about, dream of, or are attached to, all these are sensations in you. It's okay, it's not a terrible thing. I don't see how we can refute it, in fact. Right now something is very strong, it's so powerful, I don't know, and then it's gone. And if I say, can you retrieve it? Right now it feels totally like a fact, it's real, undeniable, but in a short while you cannot retrieve it, it's gone. Everything is like yesterday's newspapers. Everything is going. Only by memory somehow we seem to hold a link with many things. There's something here that does not need the shape of or the identity of a person in order to perceive. Your consciousness can be very fresh, free from that limitation of personhood. It is totally in the now, fresh. We are attached deeply to memory or to identity, to certain kind of relationships deeply. Without this deep attachment, there's a functioning that is very happy, very harmonious. It doesn't mean that if you're a mother, that suddenly you'll stop being a mother. But you may turn out with some very enlightening motherhood. Who knows? You see? Because I don't think that the role that the consciousness plays will suffer because of awakening to a deeper truth. It cannot suffer. It can only be enhanced. But in some way, it won't be as deeply meaningful or passionate in a way. It won't be like that. And nothing is meant to be like that. You don't have to be so passionate about anything in existence, actually. But yet you may relate and enjoy. And the responses to life will be felt more to be something spontaneous and fresh, like I'm not doing them. Anybody who pays close attention and observe themselves or their emotions will come to see that there's a kind of happeningness about them. They just seem to happen, like a thought just seemed to happen in my mind. Before a thought occurs to you, did you know it was coming? Did you order a certain portion of thoughts for the day? Do you know what is going to be your next thought? You don't know. They are random somehow. But what happens is that when the certain thoughts come, there is a kind of relationship with them. They have to connect with the thinker of thought. They have to connect with some identity. And then together they can clap. It's like a thought arising, but for no one is like trying to clap with one hand. When it connects with identity, then somehow it can produce some noise, some sound. And many thoughts, you can say potentially, appear or arise in the space of consciousness and don't register because there's no interest in them. And you don't have to transcend something if it has no meaning or interest for you. Can you imagine if every thought potentially that arose inside you had to get registered? There would be no space in you at all. If everything you see with the eyes kind of became a photograph inside you, everything you taste registered, how long would it take you to be full? So very often in your natural functioning of life, how marvelous is the consciousness, because it can look at anything in intimate detail and not have to soak it up. Doesn't have to register its presence. Doesn't have to press save. And most things are like this for you. Maybe 99.9% of the possibility of perceiving something is like that for you. But a little bit we have a particular relationship with certain kind of thoughts, and almost always they are personal. Almost always the thoughts that stick and cause trouble have a personal quality about them. Like I'm not good enough, or I still have a long way to go, or I want to be special, or it always come back to being something personal. And it is okay. There's always going to be some play like this. However, you don't need to be stuck with them. You only need to recognize, acknowledge, and confirm your true position. Presently, we are deeply identified with personality. We enjoy and suffer from the place of personality. But personality itself is a phenomenon that is not consistent. Watched from a deeper place, a deeper awareness. What watches personhood? What watches and perceives the functioning of the senses, or the sense of time, or space, or life? What is observing all of this? Without passion. You don't need imagination for this, what I'm asking. First of all, can you refute or acknowledge that whatever you call your experience is only what is reported to you, only what has arisen in front of you and has been somehow validated by you at some level? You are the witness of what you call your life. What is witnessing all of these things? And I don't want a mental answer about it. try and understand the question. And there's a light inside the question that is guiding the question to a place of recognition.
So there's a sense of what you're speaking.
What even observe a sense. From where is even a sensation even perceived? By what is it perceived? Again, no answer. The fact is, it is perceived. Can the perceiver of even the most subtle sensation, can the perceiver itself be perceived?
Mm-hmm. That was the meditation. And so I was so happy that I didn't find me and that I found you. Because me would have been messy.
If you find me, there is still you and me. And you yourself are greater than me in your finding. You are the one who is observing.
But it wasn't you, Mooji.
So then if it's not me, then this you and I must be same. Because it come a time when all the sense of separation will become unbearable. And that is grace. And there's nothing you need to speak about. Somehow just digest your seeing. Nothing you have to talk about. Often when someone come to this place of recognition, I say to them, go home, go to your room, and zip yourself inside your sleeping bag and don't come out. Marinate in your seeing. Don't touch other. Very good. Tell me, what kind of tears are these? What kind of tears are these?
I have no idea. I don't care. I don't mind. Yeah, it's no problem.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Oh, come. Thank you. Very good. Okay, come.
It's kind of embarrassing being here, really, because I went through this being separated from consciousness. Consciousness for me is just about unbearable. It's just, ouch, you know. I just feel like I'm in full pain most of the time, and just want to be alone. And it's very difficult for that to happen. And about a few years ago, I was falling to pieces, and I don't fall to pieces. You know, I'm the strong one. Everyone comes to me. I do whatever has to be done. And so when I started to fall to pieces, it was terrifying. I was just pure terrified, in pain. I woke up in the morning sweating. I couldn't function, and everybody thought I was losing it, and I thought I was losing it, and it's happened at last. And when my daughter's here, you know, they all thought I was losing it, and they were all scared, and I could pick up their fear. And I even tried to book myself into a mental hospital because I thought, I don't fall to pieces. I bend, but I don't break. So I held on and held on. And then I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, you're depressed." And I said, "Well, I'm not depressed. I just feel anxious." He said, "But no, you're depressed." I said, "No, I'm not depressed. I'm anxious. I mean, I feel fear." And he said, "No, that's depression." So anyway, he gave me some tablets and said, "Go away, take these." And I went away and took them. And at the same time, my mind and my consciousness was pushing. And I'm still taking them. And I feel ashamed, you know. I feel really deeply ashamed because my consciousness is overcoming even the tablets. And I'm just frightened to stop taking them. I'm frightened that if I stop taking these things that I don't need, that I'm going to become this thing that I couldn't live with. And yet my consciousness is saying, it's okay because I'm with you. You're not alone. It's okay, you know. You're not separate. We never have been. But my fear's just telling me, don't take a chance, you know, because look how you were. Look how frightened you were. And
But you seem to be frightened now, agitated now.
Because I know that I can't live with this separation. I can't.
Yes.
I can't.
What separation?
I can't live with it without being connected to. Totally merging with myself. You know,
Yeah,
I can't bear it.
First of all, no one can exist without consciousness. It's just a huge misconception, because without consciousness, consciousness is the foundation, the support for all that is being perceived. You mean consciousness. When you say I, the significance of I is consciousness. No, I has become, got converted into functioning as person. But I is consciousness. Within you can be without the person, but the person cannot be without you. Even your mind, in any stage of what you may call mind in this functioning, it cannot be without you, and you can be without it. The psychological aspect of the mental functioning. So this is a gross misconception that, you know, you can be separate from consciousness. Or what can be separate in experience is your identity, your idea of who you take yourself to be can be quite unconscious in some way. Not totally, because even consciousness is needed for that delusion to be there, even.
But what do I do? Do I sort of... I feel that taking some substance is blocking.
When you are asleep,
And
do you
yet-
need any substance?
Nope.
And then, in a way, you have to remain consciously asleep. That's what a sage is, in fact. It's like the functioning of the life and the senses and so on is carrying on. They are merely the witness of it in some way, but they are totally not identified with that. Now, from the perspective of identity, that might sound like, wow, I don't know if I want to be in such a state. I want to be in touch with everything. But still, at the same time, it could be said the awakened one is not without senses, can still taste and enjoy and discern the difference in textures and sensations, and everything is still fully functioning. But the identity that claims any particular relationship is missing, is dissolved. And I tell you something, those of you who are here, I don't have to refer to anybody outside of here, who have experienced yourself independent of your self-image or ego, you know that you don't want your ego back, actually. When you speak like this, we think, oh, the ego is everything. Okay, you don't call it ego, you call it yourself. Like, I wouldn't want to be without myself. You cannot be without yourself, but you can be without your ego. And once you have experienced the ego, because it seems like it's everything when it seems to be here, but when it's gone, you see it is nothing. This is the thing. When you are identified as ego or as personality or person, that particular context of being, then it feels like you cannot be without you. I wouldn't know how to be. Where would my relationships be? Who would take care of my life and all of this? But once you have the sense, the taste, the immediacy of your true being, you see like the ego was just like a finger that's covering the sun. It's nothing actually, you see. So this feeling, like the feeling of, you could not stand being separated from yourself. You are always yourself, but not consciously, not conscious of it. You are the self. You cannot be without the self. But you can be without your self-image, which is just something which is always changing. It's not fixed. It cannot be fixed. By the law of life, your feelings are changing. Nothing in the manifest world or on the plane of relativity is constant. It's always changing. And there must be something that is constant enough to watch the changing.
The thing is, I've felt this consciousness and I know what it feels like. I know it. But if I fall to pieces, and I want to get rid of this ego. I mean, it's pretty big, but I still want to get rid of it. I don't quite know how. But if I fall to pieces, if I go back to falling to pieces, where am I going to fall to pieces?
Where?
Well, I'd have to go and find some little room and be away from everybody and just fall to pieces on my own, because there's no one going to pick me up.
You know
No
what?
one.
It's not going to happen. You're not going to fall to pieces. Some pieces are going to fall, but you are not going to fall to pieces. You're living with some terror that is being held inside your mind, but it does not exist. It is a stage that you had to experience, and somehow it is as though this memory, exaggerated somehow in the mind also, is holding your beingness hostage. You better not go there. Remember what happened last time. You see?
Sure.
And
It's fear of the fear. That's
Yes.
all. It was always that.
yeah.
It wasn't for something. What are you frightened of? Well, I don't know. Well, you must know. Well, I don't know. I'm just afraid. But you never get afraid. I am.
Pardon?
I'm afraid now that no one will be there when if I fall into
Always the fear
a
is
heap.
greater. Always the fear is greater than the actuality. In fact, many people are living in sheer terror, in the expectation of something that they've never experienced. Of course, something very strong, very powerful may happen. But the fact is, if and when it does, it also brings with it a tremendous offering to you. If you are at some point, especially now, that you have mellowed somewhat and grown more in your introspection and so on, it will be a very different reading for you. Now you can make use of it. Perhaps there's a time things may happen to you, and you could not find a way to have any value in it. But now it will be very different. You somehow will find that your consciousness is sufficiently mature to somehow, when the saying, when life give you lemons, make lemonade, somehow you will find that, wow, this really brought something. If this had not happened, I wouldn't really have grown over this thing. If this thing, and very often, it is very intense experiences that actually move you on into a deeper place in your life. It's not sort of like honey-flavored moments, isn't it?
It got me to my knees, and that's hadn't happened for a long time.
And going on your knees is not a bad thing.
No, tired of standing, try kneeling. I had this thing on the wall, and it was the only thing really that I could hold on to that felt.
Yes.
And from there, this journey began, and I suppose I should be grateful, but I'm still scared to let go of that last little bit, that says, yeah, but this isn't really you. These are some tablets.
I would like to sometime do even maybe, we talked one time, I would like to do a death meditation with people. I'd like to maybe do one falling apart meditation. It'd be a very good one. Isn't it? Because all these things, they're nothing, especially with the benefit of your own satsang, to begin to see that everything is observable. It's only when you are so deeply identified that you overlooked the power in you to observe things. But now sometimes you'll see, even you could be in an argument with someone, and something is totally not involved at all. There's just a total silence, and sometimes you burst into laughter also, because it just seems so ridiculous. Like, I'm totally loving you, but right now I want to wring your neck, and how can these inconsistencies or contradictions work together? Is it possible that you can have a tsunami going on in your head and at the same time be in total peace? Yes, you can. You see, it's just that the tsunami won't last very long if it's not fed by the personal fire of, oh, this is happening to me. No, it's nothing. It can be there. And sometimes these things come, and an opportunity is there with them to see that what you truly are cannot be overtaken. I think it's a wonderful thing to embrace falling apart. I told the story of Ramana Maharshi, my guru's guru. When he was a boy, his photograph of him there. When he was a boy, maybe about 15 years old, he happened to be visiting, I think, his uncle's house in Madurai, in the south of India. And while alone in the house, suddenly a kind of panic attack overcame him, and he felt, I'm going to die. Young boy, healthy, suddenly panic attack, I'm going to die. And a huge terror came over him. And so there was no one to ask for help. So what he did was, strangely, he lied down on the ground like a corpse, because in India you always see corpse, you know what the dead person looked like so he lied down and straightened his body up and said, okay, I'm going to die. I'm just going to witness it. And he felt the body tightening up, like some strange same powers there. And he felt curiously really alive. He says, well, something seems like he's going to die, but something here cannot be touched by dying. And in that moment, it was such a profound experience that the entire fear of death vanished from him. And for the rest of his earthly life, it never came back. Now, for many people have had experiences like that, but gradually the mind seemed to come back, and they sort of kind of forget it. But with him, he saw very clearly that, yes, the body may go, but what I am cannot go. You see? And it was there, perhaps, was the beginning of a tremendous change that came over him. And he grew up to be one of the most respected sages of India. One day, his body did die. I wonder where he is now. So same thing like that, falling apart. Oh, I'm going to fall. I feel my life is falling apart. But you witness it. There's a power here that is so amazing that as soon as it recognizes itself, it seems like it cannot forget itself anymore. I remember one time a few years ago, we were in Brazil. And we had been touring around Sao Paulo and different places. Argentina, also America. We just came finally towards the end of our time in Brazil. We went to Radha's family place. There was a swimming pool there. Also, with the team, we got there and we said, okay, fine, we want to relax now. There was a pool in the garden. We all jumped in and I did a backflip into it, but I realized it was not very deep. Just and immediately head first, like this, the head hit. And that instant, unexpected, was seen inside my consciousness, of course. Just, no matter if something happened in a millionth of a second, it is still perceived in that which is unmoving. And the thought arose, go to the surface and so on and so on. But there was total stillness inside. Go to the surface, I could feel this warmth in the head and everything like this and coming out. And I said, this is wonderful. This is wonderful because one day your body will drop also and you will witness it. Your falling apartness may happen and you'll witness it. Recently we were in Ukraine, sometime in some countries it happened like that. We were on tour and then somehow out of the participants somebody seems like they freak out or something. And I said, bring them up, bring them here. Or somebody pass out and somebody's shaking. I said, bring them. And they bring them, it's like some medieval scene or something. They bring these people on the stage, they come. And I say to them, what's the problem? No problem. Inside the body, what's the problem? No problem. What is wrong? I'm free. Body like this. So from the onlooker's point of view, it can look like, my God, this person is flipped, but inside total peace. And very often it is happening like that. So this kind of falling apart, it has just become a kind of taboo in our culture, like it's the most terrible thing. Whatever happens, you should never fall apart. And yet the most awakened beings, the most healthy, all-round, sometimes experience a nervous breakdown or whatever you may call it in our culture, and release a deeper space internally, make them much wider, much more wise, much more peaceful, more understanding, more compassionate. I don't think you have anything to really worry about.
Thank you.
Okay, very good.
I go tomorrow, so see.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy you are. Yeah, see.
I'm happy and happy too. And then it must be hard for you. You look tired sometimes.
Yeah, okay, a bit
Can we have the
physically.
same message to people at the same time?
Well, actually, no. The same message, but something inside is alive in it. Very good, namaste. One time we had we were asking some people if they would want to help in editing some of the transcripts from Satsang some while ago, and I remember one woman, she gave up. She says, it's very difficult to work with these Mooji's talks and stuff because you always come back to the same thing all the time. Like, I want to move on. I want the discussion to develop and to become, sort of like much more engaging. And so I said, yes, that's for the mind. I'm not speaking to the mind. I'm not here to entertain that. but to point to what is. Please come. Okay. Very good.
My heart is very hard.
It's okay.
Banking, yeah. And the question is, that's come. The theme today was life, right? Or
We didn't come with a theme particularly,
something.
but it seems to arise from
Yeah.
moment to moment.
Yes, and what's happened to me? I didn't have the question before. It's coming. What's the meaning of life? It seems like I've been searching for at least 50 years.
Yes.
Yes. In many different places.
Yes.
Yes.
Perhaps it's not the best question. Maybe a better question could be, because if we say what's the meaning of life, then so many people may offer some response and say it is for this and it is for that, and it will only be a conceptual response for you. You may say, oh, I like that, it's I agree, or I've heard this before, and this is what. So it's something still outside.
Yes. Yes.
It has to really be, who am I in life? Because whatever the meaning of life is, whose meaning is it? There cannot be a meaning of life without one for whom that meaning means something. So it can only be that somebody say, well, I would like to say perhaps even like, there's life, and what is the opportunity, what is this all about, why am I here, and who am I in this? Because clearly, if there was no you, there could not even be any question like, what is the meaning of life? So it has to come back to, who am I, who even perceive a life and want to know its meaning. Who really am I? Because whatever life may mean, something here may disagree.
Yes.
You see. But who am I is a more intimate question. Who experience life? And a life that seems to be constantly changing. As touched by different moods also. Different things seem to impact or affect the way in which life is experienced here also. But who really am I? Who is the experiencer of life? This is something. The other one, there are many debates about it. Many so-called experts. I don't know any experts at life. But you may find you are life, not your living life. Nobody's living life. This is a massive illusion. You are yourself life. And the perceiver of life.
Yes. Because it's like it's trust in life, and it's not trust in life. It's like
Yes.
yeah.
But
Now
both
I
trusting
don't
in
know.
life and not trusting in life are modes that are perceived by something which is independent of them. Isn't it? Both the trusting in the life and the not trusting in life, they are modifications of mind. They are also perceived. There's something prior to that, earlier than the modes. What is that?
Life itself. Life itself.
Life itself. Life itself. Yes. And then who are you?
Life.
But I wonder if this is deeply satisfying, because any real insight is immediately satisfying. It puts an end to all kinds of agitation and all kind of, it settles a lot of things. So therefore it cannot merely be an intellectual discovery. It has to somehow merge inside your being. It has to resonate. It has to be that you yourself are the answer.
That's what I'm seeking.
Yes. Well, let's see how far we can get today. Because there is a seeking in you for something, isn't it? There's a seeking for something, and you say, I want to search for the meaning of life. You put it like that. Okay? But if a supernatural being should appear to you and say, I am a supernatural being, I'm one of the highest being in the universe, and your prayer, your request, your urge has come to me, and I have come to satisfy and to fulfill this desire. Okay? And then this being says, behold, like this, and in front of you, the great meaning of life. Whatever that could be. The great meaning. What could it be? Could it be some sort of, blazing concept or something, or some image? What could you imagine it could be? Whatever it could be, you will still be there looking at it and saying, wow, this is just amazing. Okay? But I am still here looking at it. And then you ask, can I have another question then? Because you've revealed the mystery of life, the meaning of life, to be, what could it be, the meaning of life? The meaning of life is you. Me? How? Whatever it could be. What could it be? A vision? The most amazing feeling. Wow. It's the most amazing. It's gone. That was the meaning of life? Then why did it go? I'm still here. Then who am I? Who experienced the great meaning, survived it, and the great meaning went? Then who am I? So it has to be, who am I? Who would perceive? And as for you, you are the highest being in the universe. But I was already here before you came. And I saw you here. So you also must be appearing in some ability in me to perceive you. So what could I be?
Intellectual, I know, I think, but I don't know here.
Yes, and you say intellectually, you know. It's common sense, no? What you may call intellectual now. I say it's common sense. If you see something come appear to you and this is the greatest thing, and then it went. So the greatest thing is gone. Well, 6 months ago, I encountered the greatest thing, but it went. It can't be so great then, is it, if it went? But who are you who perceive the greatest thing? Because somehow something says it can't be me. Why? Because I am just John Brown. I was born around the corner here. What's so great about that? Even in the time of Jesus Christ, no? When some disciples went and said to their fellow men, they say, "We have found the one that we've been waiting for." "Oh, really? Well, where is he from?" "Oh, he's from Nazareth." Nazareth? Can anything good come from Nazareth? You see? That was like saying, he comes from Harlem. Harlem? Not from Manhattan? No, he's from Harlem. Harlem, anything good come? There's only drug dealers there. So something inside us is doing the same thing. You know, you can't be that important. You didn't even finish your exams. You didn't do this. You're not so important. You cannot be the Buddha. There's something inside which is a tendency towards negative affirmations about yourself. It cannot be me. I've got a long way to go. And why? Because your perception or projection about an awakened being is a kind of fantasy. Like an awakened being, he drinks Coca-Cola? No, it can't be like this. He has, you see, we have a lot of projection about, and so many people all over the world, they give their teachers and gurus a lot of trouble because they expect them to be squeaky clean according to your projection about what awaken is. And the trouble with that is that if you do this, it means then what your mind has done means that you cannot be that also because you're not squeaky clean. I just want to say this. You ask a question. I would like to find the meaning of life. And if I were to say something that you are the meaning of life, you are the life, you may say, but yes, somewhere I can appreciate that intellectually, but it's not my felt truth. Yes, so I don't want to say things like that to you. What I would say is that whatever experience you can gain or have, it is something appearing in time. It has a beginning and an end. Isn't it? So you are the weakness of it. You who witness everything else. Even what somebody tell you, Einstein did this, you will witness, well, that's only according to you. We don't know. But I accept or I don't accept, it still reports to you. And whatever our life seems to mean for us, it's only as it has been validated by you. So you who are perceiving everything, that which is perceiving everything, now my question to you, can this also be perceived? Again, whatever is perceivable, it is only you who are perceiving them. Even the idea you have of who you are, it is only how it is perceived in you. Who are you? That which is perceiving, even space, which is very subtle, can that be perceived? You can try now. Yes, it can be perceived as what is it perceived?
As space,
They speak in the microphone, they want you to speak.
as space, as
Yeah.
emptiness.
There's a perceived like a sort of emptiness.
Mm.
That which is perceiving even emptiness. Don't imagine. No, don't imagine.
No, I don't.
Yeah. What
Okay,
is
yeah.
perceiving even the sense of emptiness?
Yes.
Yes. Does it have a shape?
It's like it's growing.
It's growing.
Yes.
What is perceiving growing? Growing also is
Yes.
perceived.
Yeah. Okay.
What is watching the sense of growing or expanding?
What is?
What is perceiving this expansiveness?
Some kind of holding.
Some kind of holding.
Yes.
Some kind of holding is also perceived. What is perceiving, even perceiving itself? What perceives even the functioning of perception itself?
I don't know the word for that.
Yes. Is it different from you?
No, it's not.
Then who are you?
Everything.
Where is this answer coming from even?
It's like, as I said, I cannot find the right word.
Yes.
So when you ask that question, I don't know what to answer.
Yes. Yes. I am not disappointed at all, because any answer you could find, any word you can find, it will not be it.
It's like expanding. It's still expanding.
There is expansiveness.
Yes.
There's expansiveness, and the expansiveness perhaps is a result of the fact that this is a fresh exploration for you.
Mm.
But even expansiveness itself is perceived, isn't it?
Yes.
That which perceives even expansiveness, can it be identified? Can it be touched? Does it have a shape? Even the searching for it is also perceived in it. Even the search to find it is already perceived in it.
There's no shape. It's just.
Yes.
It is. It is. It just is.
Yes.
Yes.
And you?
I'm just perceiving it. It's like I don't want to go up in my head and think. So it's just like I want to stay here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Can anything in your head do anything to it?
No.
Okay. This is you.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Now you don't try and figure out anything now. Don't try and figure out anything. Nothing you are doing. Nothing you are doing. Everything is being done. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Wonderful. 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 Thank you. Very good. Message from Turiya. Beloved Mooji, I don't want anything. I don't want to know. I don't want to carry. I don't want to hold. I don't want to know what is ego. I don't want to know what is mind. I don't want to know what is consciousness. I don't want to know what is self. I don't want to know even what it is to know. I don't want to know happiness, sadness, suffering, or joy. I don't want to know what is I. I don't want to know what is this me. I don't want to know who it is who don't want to know these things. Please answer my prayer. I want nothing else. Let me be without me always. Let me forget me. Let the universe forget me. Please hear my prayer. Don't let me appear any longer. Kill me now. Destroy what remains. Love, Turiya. So be it. When you come to a place like that, like this, then you have run out of options. You run out of moves. When you don't have any attachment to any worldly treasures, then you will find what is priceless. Turiya is that one who lives inside my heart, the undying one. I'm always waiting for someone like you. Very good. Very good. Okay. Rumi says something. He say, "The one who brought me here must take me home." The one who brings you here, his home. There is no distance to this home. There is no distance except the distance of a thought, of belief. So satsang is only to remove this sleep, this delusion, this ignorance. And you'll find you are home. Living in the shape of the ego, with a sense of your own private autonomy, brings in the sense of separation and leaves us in a state of a powerful duality and a restlessness. But this restlessness is also part of our human story, because with the restlessness there will not be peace. And it is an impulse within us to search for what is peace, to search for rest. And for a while we are not conscious about it. For a while we're not conscious. This urge to be home takes many forms. For a while we hold many misconceptions about it. We may imagine that something that you can get in this world will somehow be the equivalent of this unity. But you are discovering that the unity is already wholesomeness within your own self. When we are in a state or stage when our mind is not dominated by arrogance, all these things become very simple to assimilate. I shared before what Rumi also said. He said, I was knocking at a door. Suddenly it opens. I have been knocking from inside. And this is something very, very beautiful, very true also. We are already the inside, imagining that we are outside, on account of the ego, on account of this limited identity, the sense of separation. So there's an urge inside that must awaken inside the heart of every human being, because we are compelled to search for what is true. And until you find it, we experience a state of restlessness. But at some point an urge arises inside where the sense of separation becomes intolerable. And this discomfort is in fact the play of grace, because it will spur you on to find that which you must find. If not today, tomorrow, next month, next year, next life even. But once you come, it will never let you go. You must make your way home. When we believe that we are only flesh and blood and conditioning, the journey has a physicality about it. When you realize that you are consciousness or spirit or presence, everything is available now. If you are only a flesh and form and name, then heaven becomes a place. But when you are consciousness, when you are presence, heaven is a state of being. We can enjoy both, just in the same way that we can enjoy the physicality of the universe. But at the same time, as you turn your attention within, you find that the inner universe is unbound. But it's not necessarily a universe of objects. There's a time when your yearning is not for objects. Your yearning is not for things. Your yearning is not for philosophy or ideologies. Your yearning is only for truth. No form is permanent, is everlasting, or is timeless. Everything that you perceive through the senses or the mind is somehow governed by time. It is transient. This body also is transient. It is a mortal body, you can call. But the immortal being is living in it. And while it is in this relationship, it must use this body while it is warm to find that which is timeless and imperishable. And this is what I would call the supreme calling of human beings, to discover our true nature. And we can see, when we haven't done so, the outcome of that. When we live only in that shallow idea of being a person or being this body, how it promotes selfishness and a duality that creates great suffering and sorrow in the world. So I'm always happy with the beings who find their way to Satsang. Because if this world was only as we have been conditioned to believe it is, it would be a very terrible thing. If there was no way out. But as I said before, the way out is the way in. And there's always a way out, a way through, and a way to what we truly are. So this is a happy day. It's a happy day that there are still beings who have this hunger, this thirst, this urge to find what is real. Even if there's only one now and again, it makes it all worth it. And you could be that one, or such a one. Very good. If this day, this moment, this time now, was all you have, if there was no space to conceive of a future, if tomorrow was no guarantee, which it's not anyway, incidentally, but if it was brought to your attention that we could not leave, we could not move on from this day, there's no tomorrow for anybody, that you could not return to your nest, that you must face life now. Where do you sit inside your being? Why this question? Perhaps to have a look at how much investment we have in our projections. Where are you now? Here. Yes. If there was no next experience, no next thought, no next relationship, no next job, no next day, what is missing? What is missing as you are right now? If even the imagination, because imagination will always offer you next. So no imagination. Inside your own sober being.
It's like a call, like you call me here.
Yeah.
I feel so at home here.
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
It is okay.
It's only the call I hear, so.
Yes. What if there was no time? There was nothing to change, nothing to get, or nothing to lose, nothing to fix, nothing to heal, nothing to become, nothing to wait for.
Yes, it's the best.
Yeah.
Nothing missing.
Nothing missing. Nothing missing. And this is your natural state. This is your natural state. You're not dead. But not holding on to anything, any shape. This I must do, this I must, tomorrow, next week, oh, I forgot, I must do. This movement will come from time to time. But it arises inside a great space that is unmoving. When your mind is established in and as this great space, then the ripples, the waves of the ocean can dance. You don't even need to say, well, I wish they would stop sometimes. The ocean does not need to say, waves, look, just quieten down. I don't feel very ocean-like today. It doesn't have any requirement. It doesn't say, when I'm still, I'm so ocean-like, I'm so perfect. When the waves are there, oh my God, So you have no requirement, except superficially, for the flow of life, for the dance of life. Of course, we go this way and that way, and we say, oh no, not so much, and yes, please, and so on. This can continue to play, but it becomes a more of a joyful play, something more light. At the moment, too much is read into it. It's too important, too consequential. Why? Because the egoic sense, the idea that I am this person, and do you know who I am, and you know how long I've worked for this noise, this irritant is removed. It will come from time to time. In Satsang, the ego is fired, but he will keep on showing up for work. He said, well, wait a minute, but I fired you, I said, no, you were just thinking about it. And I've improved since last time. Very It is okay. You will also know there's no ego. There's no ego to fire even. There's no ego to fire even. When you're in your own silence, your own stillness, your own joy, there's nothing you need to exchange. There's no ego. It was just an old rumor, once believed. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good, very good. Thank you. Very good. Very great. Come and
I was outside and you said the way out is the way in.
Yes. It works like this too.
I am. This idea is visiting me many times. Like it's not your turn. You have to inquire more before you can go and sit there.
Yes. Who is this voice speaking to? Let's just stop for 1 second. Who is this voice speaking to? Can it be identified? Don't just assume, just for one moment, like this is a fresh question. Can it be identified? Who is this voice speaking to? Obviously, it cannot be speaking to the pure self. It cannot be speaking to God. It cannot be speaking to the body, because the body is totally innocent. It doesn't know, the body doesn't know you. It doesn't know that it's your body. Who is the voice speaking to? Can you identify?
I feel it's speaking to a hostage.
Yes.
Somehow.
Can you go and find this hostage? Identify, be. Don't just imagine. See if you can use the hostage feeling to locate the actual hostage.
I feel it's a play that is believed,
Yes.
and it is also not believed, but it's revisiting somehow. It finds space sometimes to
Yes. 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 Yes.
come back.
Yes. 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 A play that is watched without belief can be enjoyed or not enjoyed, but whatever way, it's inconsequential in its impact, because if you go to a movie, you watch, and there are some scenes which are exciting, and next moment is love, and next moment is laughter, next moment there's pain, but all the while it's a movie. But your tears when you cry is the same salty tears like when you really cry. But something knows it's not real. But still it is enjoyed. We can do this. But the play believed in has a different feeling about it, isn't it? Yeah. Then somehow feels much more intense.
And also, what is more, I don't know, what is more or less, but sometimes it makes the feeling of expansion or the self looks like partial or also in time, because when it's there, it's there, but when the play is going on and it's believed in, it looks like time is divided between these two states, to put it simple. So the state of expansion also seems that it's not that yet also, because it's sharing the stage with this play somehow.
But right now I want to tell you that even expansion is itself an illusion. Why go for expansion? There's something that is aware of expansion or not expansion. It's not expanding. You see, because something feels like when my attention is here, I experience a sort of expansiveness, and this is beautiful, and I'd like to be in this expansiveness. But ultimately, the expansiveness and the one who is enjoying the expansiveness are both images in consciousness. Not easy to grasp, Because we are very much attached to the idea of the one who is like expansive. Oh yeah, this is it, man. This is it, Mooji. Can we just kind of like, can we render this state? Can we just render this state like it just stays like this? No, because that also is traffic. That also is changeful. This even the state of beingness, as there's some temperature change, and very often this is not pointed out, because the identity has been evolving from the state of person into presence. But from presence, it must also merge into the absolute. You see, it takes most of the spiritual work is done to pull the consciousness from the state, from the mode of person back into the state of presence. Because the person is filled with conditioning and speculation and projections and fears and insecurities and desire and attachments and all of this. It's a very, very aggressive realm, very volatile, very unstable realm. But we can get accustomed to that. And because you are consciousness, on every level of consciousness, life feels okay at some level. Because even the demons in hell have a life. Understand? Some power puts them there and gives them a kind of, they have their own little social life. You know, who did you get today? Yeah, I saw this one. Oh. So everybody has a life, doesn't matter. You know, the worm under the ground, they have kind of worm life, they have worm fun. So everything, because all is consciousness, it's all consciousness. So even the state of personhood, at some point it has to hurt. You know, the worm life has to hurt. It has to hurt so that it has an aspiration to go to next farm or something, to in the play of evolution or something. Something has to compel the drive to evolve to higher and higher states. So in the human being, something also is working to somehow lift the consciousness to higher states of consciousness, from the state of personhood, which is also a state of consciousness, but a very contracted and limited state of consciousness, has to evolve into the state of presence, which is also consciousness, but a higher functioning of consciousness. When the human being comes to the state of presence, and then one is functioning more as observer to life, rather than the doer of life or the thinker of thought. These become observable, and your life flows in a new way, more intuitive, more wisdom, more space, you see, more contentment, more relaxed. All these functions are higher qualities or virtues inside the expanding or evolutionary flow of consciousness. So now it comes that from this stage you say, yes, you know, I can see now that certain lower states of consciousness or from the mind, they do swim up, and then sometimes they are believed. And when they are believed, what happens is that, because belief is one of your great powers, attention and belief and identity. When these forces are operating, because you believe, with belief, you believe things into existence and they actualize and become realities for you. So when we believe something, it's as though somehow it joins the kingdom of your identity, and then you are functioning inside these states also. Then you say sometimes they are believed, sometimes not. When they're not believed, somehow you say there's a sense of expansiveness. A sense of expansiveness. So very much this is a report from the evolutionary expression of consciousness. Something is growing, and you know, maybe one day I will stabilize in this place more. But I'm saying that even this expansiveness is observed in the broader consciousness, or the which you may call pure awareness, the state of expansiveness. Therefore, I'm somehow trying to get you to not so much aspire for stability in the realm of presence even. Because even the state of presence itself is watched. We are at a stage when we can speak about these things Perhaps in an ordinary conversation with people on the street or whatever like that, I would not be able to speak like this, because I don't go forward to speak with people. I have nothing to speak with them about. When I meet you, your presence inspire a conversation, if one needs to happen. That is the true way that we converse, actually. I have nothing I have to say. But when I meet you, somehow in that moment, the chemistry of our spirit brings forward some way to communicate. And so we can speak at the level. I don't have to find out some information about you. Just, if everything is with you. And we can meet in this way when you're empty. When you're empty of intention, you can really meet, because everything is fresh in this moment. You see. So when you speak and you say this aspiration for you love this expansiveness, but when you believe in a certain thought, it closes down this sense of expansiveness and creates another disturbing state. And so this is still in the realm of the functioning consciousness that is evolving towards perfection. But I'm telling you, the perfection is already here as pure awareness. And I can prove it, because you are able to perceive that state of evolving, and even the slowing down of the expansiveness is also watched. Then what watch is this? And I'm not talking watching with interest. It's not watched with interest. It's watched in a kind of passivity. It's just the consciousness is present, so these functions can be observed. But there's not really being observed from a place of interest. It's not even interested. It's just that it's above everything. You are above the full range of expression of the waking state. Everything that happens. Some people, I can say, may be among you also right now. Are you aware that all your life, all your treasures, your identity, is only existing in the waking state? In deep sleep, you're not a rich person or a poor person. You're not a doctor or a husband or a wife. There's none of this exists for you. All the life that we talk about, all our biographies, all the libraries of the world is a report from the waking state. In deep sleep, have you heard of the author who writes something from deep sleep? Not at all. Everything is the play and the content of the waking state. The waking state is also observed. The deep sleep itself, in deep sleep you have no identity, no relationship. You could be married today, honeymoon tonight, but in deep sleep you cannot take your bride or your groom into that state with you. Not even you are there, even in the way that you conceive of yourself. And yet something is here. That something which is absent of your somebodyness is our real nature. Something is there to even enjoy sleep. And now the waking state has come with all its functioning, and there's awareness of the waking state and the functioning of the waking state. But we're not aware of it. It is the most natural and simple thing, but we are not aware of it, because we have this idea that I'm this person. I am this person. And this concept is strong enough to somehow obliterate or eclipse your intuitive knowing that you are above the three states of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. You are the constant in them. They are the, what you may call, the fluctuating states. They are the variable, but something is constant. I don't know if you follow what I'm speaking. Am I on my own in this one? If you get this, actually, you have transcended the influence or the hypnosis of conditioning. And then somehow you are the observer of the functioning of the waking state, in which you yourself appear as a player like other players, moving in it. And at the same time, you are the witness of this. But who will you share this witnessing with?
Yeah. sometimes there is a kind of nostalgia of this
Yes.
sharing mode.
Yes. Yes.
I feel this feelingless state or beingness, and there is a magnetic force sooner or later that comes to share this with the person that is more near. Or
that pull, that magnetic play, is also a functioning, a movement inside the greater consciousness, which is not moving. You see, and it cannot even be described as a feelingless feeling. It's more subtle than that, because a feelingless feeling is also felt inside the great awareness. It's completely indefinable, ungraspable, unconquerable. And yet it is nothing. Not the nothing of the mind, no, it's nothing, not that kind of nothing. It is no thing at all. And yet everything cannot be everything without it. You said sometimes. This whole world is sometimes. It's a great seeming. Sometimes like this, sometimes like that. Sometimes like this, sometimes like that. Sometimes you say never, never, never again. Sometimes. Everything is sometimes. But there's something which is nothing, which is not sometime. Are you aware? You see, in the ordinary scope of things, the person is not attracted to this, because what? You can't get anything from it. A person cannot go there. It's not like, oh, you got into the bank of emptiness. You raided emptiness and wow, you got everything there. No, because it's not appealing for the selfish ego or for the disorientated or deluded ego. It's nothing there. There's no party. It feels like that. And yet it is the source, the womb of this entire universe and everything that happens in it, actually or potentially. Nothing can be conceived of or perceived independent of that. The biggest mistake you will make is think what I'm talking about is mental or intellectual. That would be to not be following my direct pointing, which is immediate also. I am not giving you homework. I'm pointing directly to something here, a place of seeing your original self, which cannot be seen phenomenally, but everything is perceived from there and by that. But while you hold some interest in being the person, your urge to merge in this will not be constant. The waves of yesterday and tomorrows will capture your attention very easily. But the one who discovers this has entered into the effortless state. The curling fingers of the mind will lose their power for you. Sometimes I say, you have to become the cow that jumped over the moon. We have one little nursery rhyme, no? The cow that jumped over the moon. He said, but how can cows jump over the moon? What is this moon? The moon is the person, the identity, the ego. What must jump over this ego? The consciousness that is under the spell that it is personal. Must jump over the moon back into itself. I'm showing you an easy way.
I was here already twice.
Yes.
For for some days, and I felt this. Not exactly, I was a cow jumping over the moon, but something very similar. I was, and actually, I tried to observe. You even told me that right now you don't have to worry about distractions. You will go out of here with so much bliss that. And I tried to observe how this what was going to happen. No projection. I tried no projection to see how this state kind of slowly fading.
But you who watch the fading, are you fading? That is more important. If we are looking for some phenomenon, then that will always fade. But the one who watches the fading, can this one fade?
Yeah, that I feel is something to transcend, because it's a sugary phenomenon. For me, being here and the bliss coming, the state of grace, it's some kind of pure magic, and
we are not attached to that.
Yeah.
We are not attached to any form of magic.
Yeah.
Life is magical enough. You, in fact, will observe the magicality of life. We're not shamans here. We're not looking for any state, but to recognize the stateless state, in which all states appear and disappear, but itself does not come and go. Of course, there will be joy, there will be happiness. That will be your perfume. But the flower nobody can find. Very good. Yes. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. Yeah. The satsang also has to bring you beyond mere philosophical or intellectual discoveries. It has to turn you inside out. It cannot be something that you have learned. must be something direct. What you find cannot be a commodity. It can only be you. When you and your answer becomes the same thing, then your doubts will vanish. Very good. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Punjaji. Namah Shivaya. Very good. Someone will come and sing today.
चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमेश्वरी नंदमयी चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमेश्वरी आनंदमयी चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमेश्वरी आनंदमयी चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमेश्वरी
सत्यमयी परमेश्वरी आनंदमयी चैतन्यमयी 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 सत्यमयी परमेश्वरी
I just want to say to all the Sangha from all different places in the world, you are writing many letters here, and I just want to tell you I read them, and I'm deeply touched by your writing, and you're always inside my heart. So, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.